Everybody, we're gonna catch up today, going through a few chapters. First, it's a very small chapter, so it won't take too long. First, we're gonna learn about prophets. So, bombshell. We don't, as Jewish people, believe in prophets. We don't believe in prophecy, period. Right? Therefore, we don't believe in Yahshua, and we don't believe in Muhammad, because they're prophets. We don't believe in prophets. We believe in ourselves. What's ourselves? The Torah was given to millions of Jews by our Shema. Thousands of years later today, every single Torah scroll is almost word for word exactly the same. They found Torah scrolls in the Dead Sea Scrolls, famous Dead Sea Scrolls, 2,000 years ago, almost word for word. Now the Torah is massive. There's three words. The Torah is massive, right? If you look at it, there's hundreds of thousands of words. And there were no printers, no internet. It was written copy. What? What's the prophecy? The difference is, in a second. So the whole Torah is written word for word, all the same for thousands of years, right? Millions of Jews gave it to their next generation. Now, one person for thousands of years even doubted the giving of the Torah. There were many not religious Jews in the second temple. During the Greeks, many people didn't practice. Nobody doubted the story of the giving of the Torah, because it was just like you don't doubt Hitler, you don't doubt Napoleon, because millions of people witnessed and they give over. This is a fact of history. The Torah was given to the Jewish people. And therefore, we don't need prophets, because every single one of our parents were prophets. They were all standing by Mount Sinai and heard the words of God. Whatever that means, I can't comprehend it, but they did. They saw it, right? Millions, and they gave it to the next generation. So we don't need prophets. So when one person comes and says, "I saw," thank you. We all saw, right? Now, one second. We did mention God said when two witnesses come to this court, you listen to those two witnesses. When a prophet comes, now not just a regular person that came from nowhere and says, "I saw God," and he spoke to me. Somebody we saw that he learns all day. He davens. He never gets upset. He's kind. He never does any of it. All the mitzvahs. You know him. You know this trustworthy person. And he says, "God spoke to me. And he said this." We still don't believe. We'll never believe him. The Torah says we should listen to him, but on condition. He has to prove to us he's a prophet by either telling us the future or doing a miracle. 2 options. That means you tell him, he could say it's going to be a hunger. He could say there's going to be corona. So you can now. If he yes, you can tell, because as I said before, by prophets, by people that are God, they have no boundaries. They see what's happening in a mile away, right here. We see the future and what's happening right now. Like the Baal Shem said, we used to write letters. You go to write somebody, close it, put an envelope, says open it in 13 years. Open 13 years with the answer to the problem 13 years later. Because a tzaddik can see the future. So prophet, he stands between the people. If he says something bad, then we can, and people do tshuva, we can say God can change his mind. But when God promises to do something good, he'll never change his mind. And therefore, if a prophet says the future is good and it happens, that's a sign that he's a prophet. If it doesn't happen, that's a sign that he is a false prophet. He's a false prophet. And that is the difference between all the humbo jumbo that there is in everywhere in the world and Jewish prophets. No one will tell you that all these seers of the future are right 100%. Some people that have start feel like they feel like the future, and they'll all admit that here and there they're wrong. The prophet of God is never wrong, not the slightest. And if he's the slightest wrong in the future, he's a false prophet. There's a mitzvah even to kill him. Even if he's the biggest tzaddik, if he goes off a drop, doesn't happen what he says, he's a false prophet. People were saying that the Rebbe is a false prophet, because he said, Iraq is sending their gun missiles, then don't be scared. But people thought that he said, there won't be gun missiles. I don't know why he never said that. So when gun missiles fell, like, oh, see, and then they turned on the news, and they heard that now one person died. Many buildings smashed. They even fell on a gas pipe. It was these are massive missiles. Now, and yeah, like he said, the one person that died She died not because of the missile, fear. Exactly what the was saying. Don't be scared, right? And he actually threatened to send a chemical missile. He didn't do it at that time. Chemical bomb. Anyway, point is, a tzaddik, when he says something good, it happens. That's a prophet. Now, back to this other religion. Prophet, what? Bad no. It's bad if you do tshuva. It's the famous story of Jonah and the whale. Came to Nineveh, they did tshuva. Now, in general, prophets are not here to make a new religion. That's what people think. That's not what we do. Prophets are here to inspire us to follow God that we know already. And also to tell us physical things. Do this, don't do that. But when it comes to connection with God, He's not here to make anything new. And therefore, there's a foundation in our belief that the Torah that we got from God is exactly the way it is given then, applicable today in the same exact way. No different. Just like then they have to keep Sabbath, we have to keep Sabbath. They have to put on tefillin, we have to put on tefillin. People think today that, or not only people, most religions think that the Torah was given then is not applicable today. That's not true. Our belief is, and we know, exactly the same. Every single thing. When the Reform rabbi might say that it's for the lesson, no. Exactly what it says is what it means. That's our fundamental belief, and that's why we do not trust any prophet that comes and says, there's a new version, there's a new testament, there's a new this, there's a new that. We don't believe it because he's going against our belief that we know. If someone comes to you and tells you, hey, I know you saw this and this happen, it's not going to happen. 100 people come and tell you, you're not going to believe them, right? When a prophet comes and says, don't listen to the Torah, he's going against what we know, right? We saw it with our own eyes. We can't go against it. And that's why God told Moses, why will the Jews leave you when I speak to you in front of them? Not when you split the sea, not when you make all these plagues, because a prophet is not something what a Jewish concept. We don't believe in people because of the miracles. We believe in God because we saw him and heard him. And he told us to listen to people which are very righteous. When they do miracles, we should listen. So of course, if they're going against God, they're going against the whole foundation of the reason why we trust. Now, if the prophet says, well, right now we're going to do something a little bit off the line. For example, Elijah, the prophet, the very famous story, he brought a sacrifice on the mountain of Carmel when there were 250 prophets of the Baal, which is the idol, and him. They had a contest, and he got the fire. Now, it's against the Torah to bring any animal to Jewish, not on the altar in Jerusalem. But a prophet has the right, to be a very righteous person, to go a little bit off if he tells everybody just for the second. Besides, when it comes to idol worship is so Judaism is so against serving idols that if the prophet, he could be the biggest righteous person, the most connected to God, the kindest and nicest. He could split the sea. If he says do anything which is even slightly serving idols, we're finished with him. He's a false prophet. We do not believe a word he says. Now, regarding the punishment of not listening to prophets. So there's a concept in Torah time. God says, I will save. Now, in these days, since the temple was destroyed, this punishment changed from physical to spiritual, the spiritual disconnection with God. If somebody commits certain bad things, this is called cutting the rope. You cut your rope with God. Most things you do wrong, you slip a little part of the rope, you just totally just cut it off. It's called courage, you cut it off. So now, if somebody holds back his prophecy, many times God tells the prophet a vision to help him, like that. But if he tells him tell the Jewish people the same thing, he doesn't tell them, he deserves to step down from God. If you don't listen to him. Now there's another idea of testing him. Once he's proven to be a prophet, you can't ask him anymore. Prove God, show us a miracle. Once he's proven that his word and this straight out of God. Because God said you have to listen to him. Now, if someone has a student, a prophet that has a student, and you know this person is for sure prophet, he has a student, he says, this person is also a prophet, you can't either ask, he is also, you don't need to prove it. Once the prophet says the student is a prophet, you take him over as a prophet. You can ask some questions, but you can't. You could. It's interesting. It's very interesting because in those days, and even in these days, people went to the Rebbe, physical things, business deals. So the prophet is the story of Shaul, when he met Shmuel, the king Shaul, who was looking for his donkey. He went to Shmuel and he said, "Hey, you're a prophet. Where are my donkeys?" And then he's like, "No, forget about your donkey. I need to make you a king." Okay, now we're moving on. The next two chapters are chapters of our conduct, our emotional well-being. It says in the Torah, there's a mitzvah to be similar to Hashem. And I will explain what that means. It means we have to be emotionally channeled just like Hashem. Hashem is kind, grateful, all these different attributes that the person must copy Hashem in the way he feels. In general, the Rambam outlook on psychology is that a person has to be in the middle. Let's be a middleman. For example, some people are not scared of death at all. Some people are not scared of Corona, but forget about Corona. Some people are do the most dangerous things. They go into the middle of a gunfight. They have no fear of death. And it's called I don't know what the name is in psychology, but they think that they're literally human beings that never get scared of anything. They think that there's no way for them to die. And I'm assuming most big brave people of the heroes, the generals, they had that issue, which turned out to be the reason why people respected them, was that they were never scared of death. That's why they did these crazy things. Now, that's not helpful. Then there's other people which all day scared of death. That's not helpful. They'll be in the middle. Some people, they pay for an extra cent for a soda, pills. That's not helpful. Some people don't even look at the price. That's not helpful. Right? So the Rambam says you always have to be in the middle. Besides, when it comes to two things: Kas, which is mad, and Gaiva, which is being a big shot. And something these two things, you always have to run away to the other extreme. Now, when it comes to presenting yourself, you have to be respectful. You have to be in the middle. You can't be buying, driving a Lamborghini, right? You can't be driving a broken dog. You respect yourself. But in the way you look at yourself, you're never meant to look at yourself better than anybody else. The way you see yourself versus other people, you should never think you're better than anybody else. Now that's extreme, but that's when it comes to this. It says God cannot live with a big shot. You can't stand it. If you want God to live with you, you have to be humble. Same too with madness. You are never allowed to get mad. As Rambam says, nothing in this world is worthy enough for you to get mad. And the rabbis say, mad people don't have a life. Because they're mad, you can't live. You can't connect with life. You can't live when you're upset. Now, in general, God told us many mitzvahs of how we're meant to copy him. So there's one mitzvah to copy him. One mitzvah to connect with the tzaddikim, or the people that know him. Because it's the same concept. You always learn from the people that you get around. So if you have a friend which is a tzaddik, which is a righteous person, you'll get to rub off, or also you'll start copying. To love a fellow Jew, that's part of this mitzvah. Another mitzvah, to love a convert, separate mitzvah. Fifth mitzvah is to not hate any Jew. And the next mitzvah is the shocking one, is to rebuke. If you really care about somebody, not going to be like, oh, I'm loving peace and love, do whatever you want. So, if someone is doing something wrong, you have to help. Now, the next mitzvah is connected to that, which is don't scream at somebody and not be careless just because you feel like they're laying out your anger. No. You're not allowed to embarrass them. When you rebuke, you have to make sure that you're doing it in a way that you understand it, sort of good, and looking at it. The next mitzvah is not to give pain to someone which is weak, to abuse somebody who can't stand up for himself. Next mitzvah, not to be a big mouth, talk about people, not to do revenge, not to remember, not even remember, grudges, not to have any grudge in your heart. Okay, so that was very fast. Now we're going to go through the next 2 days, all these concepts, are all emotional well-being, and how you have to set up your emotions in the most healthiest way. So, the Rambam goes through in the beginning. He goes through many emotions that people have. But in general, the general concept that he said that is you have to go in the middle. Everything, you see the middle. Let's say if you went through money, the way you deal with money, the way you deal with other people, the way you deal with happiness. You can't be jumping around all day. Yeah, you can't be depressed. Be in the middle. Right? This is pleasant. And that's why you have to go in the middle. Now, the Rambam says that there's something called a chassid. Chassid is someone which he says goes a little bit to the extreme. Only when it comes to something like I said, being humble, something like being but positive is positive, modest, or not getting upset. So someone which is a chassid sort of goes a little bit more to the extreme, which means let's say he will wear cheap clothes for people to not accept. Somebody will make fun of him, he won't even react. So he goes to another level. Now Ram says that's a little bit tricky. Ram's opinion is just stay to the middle. Right? So be respectful, but don't be too respectful. Don't be too into yourself. Be kind, but don't be too kind if you don't have enough money in the bank. Right? So basically stay in the middle. That's the idea. Now, the Rambam says a trick in psychology. The question is, what should I do if I don't have this concept? Let's say somebody that has no self-esteem. Unfortunately, there's many of those people that have very low self-esteem. So how do I get to the level of having self-esteem? Let's say someone is not a kind person, doesn't care about people that are in need. So how can I become a kind person? So he has a very, very simple 10-line psychology that takes care of all the books that people wrote. It says, act like it. When you act like something for a while, you become it. So if you act kind, you'll become kind. If you act like someone that has self-respect, you will start respecting yourself. For example, if you're a teacher in class, it's not if you will act in a way that kids are meant to respect you, they'll start respecting you, and then you'll begin respecting yourself. If someone seems at you and doesn't respect your authority, some parents have that issue, right? And they just they'll take it from their kids, then they themselves will start looking down on themselves. That's why you always have to act the way you want to feel, and then you will begin to feel that way. Now, the Rambam explains there's an issue with sickness. Rambam is a big doctor. The sickness people have that they taste bitter stuff sweet and sweet stuff bitter. The taste change. It's more like in the sense of there's some people start eating dirt, start eating, there's a certain sand. Some people eat. Kids also have a problem. They don't have the sense of what's good and bad. For some people, they start liking their bad habits. For example, if you look at celebrities, right? So they're in love with their all still, right? They're all like act, right? Whatever that is, if they're a big mouth, they're not thinking for a second, is this normal that I'm telling everybody everything I know about anybody else? No, because this is what makes people laugh at their jokes, right? That's somebody which is very funny. And wherever you go to, you're extremely loud. Between me and you, nobody's interested in being around him because, but this in his head, he thinks, wow, this is everybody listens to me when I talk, and it's very hard for them to realize that there's something wrong. So that's why the Rambam says it's very important to know someone wiser than you and go to him for advice and ask him, am I moving ahead in life? Am I helping myself? Like couples, Rabbi's job to talk about couples, but they had this, or pre-friends, they had the same argument again and again and again, the same fight again. You're not going to think once, maybe let's not have this, let's change ourselves. Because some people, when you're in your box, you don't think, maybe I can grow, maybe this is wrong. You think this is how life is. That's why it's very important to know someone, a wise man, and be in contact with him and say, is this how I should be in contact to myself? Is it okay? Or maybe I should change. The Rambam says, in general rule of life. If you have a question, if you should speak or be quiet, be quiet. Nothing is better than silence. In the sense, if you have something to say, keeping it to yourself, it's healing. He moves on to say, another Avera, another thing that not permitted. We're not allowed to lie to somebody in the sense, even tricking him that you like him or you're interested in him. So you're not allowed to invite, we spoke about it, you're not allowed to invite somebody to a party if you know he can't come. You can't make like you're interested in what a guy thinks. And it says even Joseph, his brothers didn't show him love. That's actually a good trait. Faking is something which is considered a very negative trait, a very negative thing to get used to. People with the use of this thing are addicted to it. They love pulling people in. People which are manipulated are very good, right? They don't care about you at all. They don't care about anything you have to say, but they'll just, if they need you, they'll just make it as if they're your best friend. And just drop you when they don't, right? Now, of course, that's a bad thing, right? But even if it's display this, even when you're going to somebody and you're telling you something, you make it interesting. That itself is making you excited and more not, right? Let's say you're not interested in the class, and you're telling the rabbi, oh wow, what a great class. So of course, there's a fine line in this thing, right? But in general, telling somebody not how you're feeling is considered a very negative. And then I'm going to go through a little more about staying in the middle. It goes on how someone cannot just be joking all day. You can't just, at the same time, somebody comes to you and like, hello. That's not either. You have to say a joke in the beginning. Because you have to, your emotional state has to stay sort of flat, sort of warm. You can't be in any extreme. And that's in general a thing which is very not in style these days, but it's really the way I live. People think that if I stick out, it's more me. But how do you express yourself? By being different. Now, everyone is able to be different. There's enough in life for you to be different, especially when it comes to intellect. Everybody thinks it. But you don't need to be the beauty of art is when it's subtle. It only sticks out when he wears some weird clothes that everybody knows that he walks into the room. It's not a healthy way of living. People are meant to feel okay with themselves when they fit into the room. So what I'm saying is that you don't need to be different. You don't need, everybody is somewhat meant to be on the same ground of being somewhat in the middle. Someone you're a little bit happy, a little bit serious, a little bit giving, a little bit hold back. Everything has to be exactly the same. And that's in general, I'll finish with this. There's two worlds, Tayu and Tikkun. Kabbalah, God first made Tayu, and that world crashed, and then he made a world Tikkun, which is our world. And the role that our work in this world to define it, to make it a better world, we do a mitzvah, we do a bracha, we take out these broken sparks from the shattered world that was created and shattered, and we elevate it and bring it to God. And it explains in Kabbalah, what is the problem with that world? Why did it shatter? Because that world, everything was extreme. Love was extreme. Imagine you would love if I would love my baby, I would hug him and kiss him. When I kiss my son, go like this. Right? You have to be very careful. Why can I express myself? Because when you love someone, you can't just love them. You have to also do it with instinct. You can use your brain, sort of restraint, do it in the right way. Right? And then same exact thing with every single emotion, every single way of living. It has to be with mild, being the exact way. And that is what this world is. That's what our mission is. To do everything a little bit davening, a little bit learning, a little bit work. Everything, it can't just be one day, okay, I'm not working, I'm just going to daven all day. It can't be all learning all day. Everything has to be mild. Everything has to be in exactly the place. Everyone have a good night, and we should actually act upon what we're learning. Not just say it, but actually live it. Time.